World 100 meters hurdles champion Toby Amushan a sum of 5 million naira and a home in Ijebu-Ode. Governor Abiodun, who made the donation while receiving Amushan in his office at Okemoson, Abeokuta, said the gesture was in appreciation of her exemplary performance at the recent global event held both in the United States of America and at the Commonwealth Games in United Kingdom. Governor's office correspondent Yusuf Ganiu has the details.
Toby Amushan, athletics world champion and the first Nigerian world champion in the sprint, recently made remarkable impact at the World Athletics Championship held in the United States of America, USA, and the Commonwealth Games in United Kingdom. The sprinter was received by the state governor, Prince Dr. Abeokuta, at his Okemoson office in Abeokuta.
Status of the Ogun State Sports Ambassador today. You know, you come building on your forebears like Chief Shegun Odegbami, Falila Togunkoya, Anthony Joshua, and the list goes on. You hope that by that, new role and status, you would now become an official mentor to our youth, particularly, our young women.
Governor Abiodun also used the occasion to appoint her as the state sport ambassador with the responsibility of mentoring women and girls in the state, with assurance that his administration would continue to promote sporting activities as a means of empowerment.
We want to use you as a point of contact for all our youths who have lost faith in what hard work, resilience, persistence, faith, diligence can achieve. We hope that by identifying with you and seeing you as a role model, they can be further inspired that indeed through hard work they can combine being successful in academics and also still make a success of their other passions in life.
The newly appointed sport ambassador, Toby Amushan, who thanked Governor Abiodun for the newly gesture, also commended him for the development of sporting activities in the state.
Anything is achievable, I run track, I'm a student, so you set your mind to it, you can achieve it. So there's no limit to, combining both simultaneously.
The world champion also urged youth to be committed to whatever they are doing and advised the government at all levels to step up investment in sports. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
Away from that story, the Olota of Ota, Oba Abdukabir Adeyemi Obalanlege, the head of all Awori Obas in Ogun State, as well as 40 Awori Obas, have endorsed the aspirations of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu for president, Governor Dapo Abiodun for second term, Senator Solomon Adiola as Ogun West Senator, and other APC candidates in the 2023 general elections. The Awori royal fathers gave the pledge to support the candidates when Adiola, the chairman of Senate Committee on Finance, paid a courtesy call on the Olota, Awori Obas, and other stakeholders at the Palace of the Olota in Ota. The rest of the reports are presented in this package.
It was another step towards putting all on board and do more of consultations ahead of the official launch of the campaign in Ogun State ahead of the 2023 general elections, as the Ogun West senatorial candidate, Senator Solomon Adiola, visits the Olota of Ota, Oba Abdukabir Adeyemi Obalanlege, in his palace. Seated here are over 40 Awori royal fathers, led by the Olota of Ota, and also the Deputy Governor of Ogun State, Engineer Noimot Salako Yudili, who is the daughter of the soil, ready to receive the senator. Oba Abdukabir Obalanlege commended the sagacity of Senator Solomon Adiola for not only consulting but giving mouth-watering promises, which will not only favor the Yewaxis of Ogun West, but Awori inclusive.
We want to assure you of our support and to Governor Dapo Abiodun, who constructed the first road under this administration in Ota.
Senator Solomon Adiola while addressing the royal fathers, thanked them for the opportunity to meet again and also assured them that his emergence will bring tremendous progress to the Awori land.
I can assure you, if I continue to go on and on and on, to give you assurance and reassurances that I crave for your support. I seek for your support, that I am the best man for the job. I'm the man to bring back this good and dividend of democracy to Ogun West Senatorial District.
Senator Adeola said between now and December, 1,000 indigenes and residents of Abeokuta will be trained and empowered with equipments in various vocational skills, adding that 2 major road construction in Awori land will be facilitated by him soon. He called for support for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as well as Prince Dapo Abiodun in the 2023 general elections, stating that among presidential contestants, only Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a record that can stand the test of time as well as build human resources to the highest level in Nigeria. The visit had in attendance Deputy Governor Engineer Noimot Salako Yidili, former ICAN President Senator Kola Bajomo, Senator Akin Odunsi, and a host of dignitaries from Ogun West Senatorial Districts.
For any government to be successful, synergy has to be achieved with its traditional institution that continues to be a force to reckon with in any state. This was the submission of the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Honorable Ganiu Amzat, during his official first visit to the Akarigbo and paramount ruler of Remoland, Oba Babatunde Ajayi, in Shagamu. Adirunke Adeyemi has more.
After his assumption of office of the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Honorable Ganiu Amzat has made it her mission to visit Obas in Ogun State for the purpose of familiarization. This necessitated the courtesy visits led by the Commissioner and accompanied by the Permanent Secretary and Directors of the Ministry to the Palace of the Akarigbo and Paramount Ruler of Remoland, Oba Babatunde Adewale Ajayi. Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Honorable Ganiu Amzat, emphasized on the need to seek the blessings of the royal fathers for a smooth running of the affairs in the state.
Is to make sure that there is a harmony between the ministry and all our traditional rulers in Ogun State. And Akarigbo has actually assured me that by the special grace of God, he will continue to give us advice when necessary and when we require it.
Hosting the team, Akarigbo and Paramount Ruler of Remoland, Oba Babatunde Adewale Ajayi, adjudged the new commissioner as the right man for the job.
On behalf of all the, at least formerly, Obas in the State, formally welcome you to this position. It's a good post, but it's also a post that requires tact. And I'm glad that you are a prince. It will help you in succeeding.
Earlier, the commissioner, alongside the Commissioner for Education, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, commissioned a rehabilitated block of 6 classrooms and 2 offices at the Christ Church Anglican Primary School 2 at Ijebu-Ode, which was facilitated by the chairman, Ijebu-Ode Local Government, Honorable Emilola Gazal. Adirunke Adeyemi, OGTV News.
Now, workers in Ogun State have been enjoined to remain dedicated and committed to duty as government will continue to ensure their adequate welfare. Deputy Chief of Staff to the Ogun State Governor, Dr. Toyin Taiwo, and the State Head of Service, Dr. Nafia Igoro, said this during the monitoring of resumption activities of workers in the state by OGTV News crew. Ayodeji Uluomi completes the reports.
The Federal Government of Nigeria declared Monday, 3rd of October 2022 a work-free day for workers across the Federation for the purpose of 62nd Independence Anniversary celebration. Deputy Chief of Staff to Ogun State Governor, Dr. Toyin Taiwo, and the State Head of Service, Dr. Nafiu Olatunde Ayigoro, enjoined workers in the state to remain dedicated to service.
I want to use this opportunity to charge the Ogun State workforce to rededicate themselves, having had an extended holiday to mark the 62nd anniversary of our great country.
It's very key that everybody must know that in trying to help Nigeria to become what we desire it to be, we all need to make sure we put our own contributions in bringing in our own quotas. Is very key. We should not just leave it in the hand of the leaders alone.
While assuring workers of adequate welfare packages by the government, the duo said the Prince Dapo Abiodun-led administration will continue to provide a conducive environment for efficient and effective operational delivery for them.
Government efforts in ensuring that they are well taken care of in terms of the welfare, provision of housings or housing estates for the workforce at very reduced prices, with mortgage facilities to facilitate the acquisition of such houses. Also, the government will continue to pay regularly the salaries of all the workers, including the pensioners.
So as Ogun State, I want to encourage everybody, particularly the leader of this team, His Excellency Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun MFR, is doing his best. So let's give him the maximum cooperation, let's give him the maximum collaboration, so that at the end of the day, his desire to make Ogun State better than what he met will now be achieved.
Permanent secretaries and workers at various ministries visited at the state secretariat were fully on ground as work commenced. Ayodeji Olumi, OGTV News.
Still to come on the news. Ahead of 2023 elections, INEC seek partnership with Action Aid, others for logistics. Muhammadu Buhari has restated the federal government's commitment to building an education system that will foster ethical and socially responsible citizens to actively contribute to the sustainable development goals. He, however, laments that this vision of education for sustainable development, backed by huge government investment, is continuously undermined by corruption and incessant strike in the sector. The president stated this while declaring open the 4th National Summit on Diminishing Corruption.
Who go on prolonged strikes on flimsy reasons are no less complicit. The 1999 Constitution places a premium on education by placing it on the concurrent list, thereby laying the responsibilities of budgeting and underwriting qualitative education on both the federal and state governments.
There is no better time to discuss the state of education in Nigeria and the role of corruption than now, when the humanistic purpose of education is apparently vanishing to the peril of the nation.
And my appeal to ICPC and EFCC and anybody who will be fighting corruption in Nigeria is to deepen what Mr. President has done. I hope the next president, whoever is going to be, will try to focus relentlessly and attack systemic corruption. Because this government has done its best. It has fought the corruption that has been caught. But the corruption that has not been caught is there, imperceptibly creating havoc beneath the surface. Systemic corruption must be fought if Nigeria is to be liberated.
Worthy that a lot has been done, especially by the ICPC, EFCC, and other institutions, and I must say they have done this very commendably since 2015 to tackle corruption in the Nigerian public sector. But a lot more still needs to be done. Efforts need to be redoubled, lessons ought to have been learned, strategies need to be reviewed and re-strategized, and more sophisticated weapons in court need to be acquired and deployed to kill corruption. For, as Mr. President was reported to have said several years back, if we do not kill corruption, corruption will kill us or kill Nigeria.
With JAMB and DSS, we conducted last year a series of undercover operations across the country on corruption in the university admission processes, leading to the busting of syndicates and the arrest of its leaders responsible for compromising the IGMB and JUPEP.
In a bid to weaken the influence of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, the federal government on Tuesday registered 2 unions in the university system. The unions are the National Association of Medical and Dental Academics and the Congress of Nigerian University Academics. The Minister of Labor and Productivity, Chris Ngige, who spoke while presenting the certificates of registration to the 2 unions, explains that the 2 bodies will exist alongside ASO. ASO has been on strike since February 14, 2022, as lecturers of public universities protest unpaid allowances and demand better welfare package from the federal government. Still on education, blocks of classrooms and halls in 6 schools in the Ijebu East local government areas of the state facilitated by the Awujale and paramount ruler of Ijebuland, Oba Sikiru Adetono, has been commissioned. Speaking at the symbolic commissioning of the project sponsored by Julius Berger Construction Company held at the St. John Community Primary School, Itile-Ijebu, the Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, said government would continue to improve on its promises to resuscitate the infrastructural deficiencies and standard in the sector through the deployment of resources to tackle such. The Commissioner revealed that the government would soon commence the second phase of the rehabilitation exercise of schools and distribution of furniture in order to further address the decays in school.
Apart from infrastructure, His Excellency has done so much in repositioning education. In fact, we have captured what we are doing now in education. We call it the Ogun State Education Revitalization Agenda. That is the program. The entire education infrastructure in Ogun State is being rejuvenated and revitalized.
Arigbabu commended Oba Adetono for his investment and outstanding demonstration towards the education sector, which he said has been complementing the Prince Dr. Abiodun giant stride in the sector, called on all and sundry to continue to support and partner with government in its drive to improve academic standard. In his remarks, the board Moye Geso of Itile-Ijebu, His Royal Highness Oba Engineer M.A. Kasali, applauded the present administration strides in the education sector and the efforts of Oba Adetono in ensuring that education takes its notable place in the state. In his submission, the chairman of Ogun State Television, Honorable Tunde Oladunjoye, said the project initiated by the Awujale and rehabilitated by Julius Berger Construction Company as its corporate social responsibility will make teaching and learning activities easier for the beneficiaries, urging them to put to good use and maintain the facilities put in place. Schools rehabilitated include local government school, St. Louis Primary School, Ijebu-Ife, St. John Community Primary School, Community Primary School, Orita J4, Muslim Primary School, and St. Brenda's Grammar School. Education is not an end in itself, but a platform for raising the next generation of leaders that will take over in the future. Therefore, stakeholders should make judicious use of the platform to achieve this goal. This was emphasized by the wife of Ogun State Governor, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, at the maiden edition of the Orion Academy Founders Week. Margaret Okunlola's reports that the event was held at the school premises in Shagamu. Our reports.
The management of Orion Academy has organized the maiden edition of its Founders Week, a gathering of dignitaries, parents, students, and alumni to celebrate the citadel of learning for coming out strong through the turbulent times. The wife of Ogun State Governor, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, who was represented by the wife of the State Commissioner for Transportation, Mrs. Olamide Dairo, called on educational institutions across the state to instill the spirit of service to humanity in the younger generation, so as to build empathy needed to be great leaders.
I would like more of our schools putting emphasis on service to the community. It builds character in our children. Not only that, but you will also find that it is in service that we are able to locate partners and resources that will increase our capacity to help millions of people. Ogun State places great premium on education.
Being a dream conceived for 10 years, the director of the school, also a one-time commissioner for health in the state, Dr. Babatunde Ikpaye, on behalf of the management, said the creation of the school was a dream come true.
The journey to greatness of our pupils has just begun. The decision to model character and excellence at Royal Academy Shagamu is deliberate. The future of our dear state and country is a collective responsibility.
Dignitaries, representatives from the State Ministry of Education, parents, students, and all present congratulated the management and staff of the Citadel of Learning, while encouraging them not to relent.
Rather than carry all these things overseas, abroad, that there is a room for investment in Nigeria, in fact, indeed in Ogun State.
If most Nigeria can copy this type of educational district, the country itself will go higher and higher.
The Orion Academy magazine was launched subsequently. The representative of the wife of Ogun State Governor, Mrs. Olamide Dairu, the Akarigbo and paramount ruler of Remo Land, Oba Babatunde Ajayi, the Orimolusi of Ijebu-Igbo, Oba Lawrence Adebajo, in company of other dignitaries, took a tour around the school. Margaret Okunlola, OGTV News.
Away from that, President Muhammadu Buhari is to present the 2023 appropriation bill to a joint section of the National Assembly on Friday, 7th of October 2022. The President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, read the President's letter and announced that the budget presentation would take place at the temporary chamber of the House of Representatives at 10 in the morning.
May I crave the kind indulgence of the distinguished Senate to grant me the slot of 10 hours on Friday, that's 10 a.m. on Friday, 7th October 2022, to formally present the 2023 appropriation bill to the joint session of the National Assembly. Please accept, Mr. Senate President, the assurances of my highest regards as I look forward to addressing the joint session. Yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari.
And back home in Ogun State, the Ogun State House of Assembly has recalled the member representing Remo North State constituency, Honorable Solomon Osho, who was on indefinite suspension following the deliberation and subsequent acceptance of his letter of plea earlier acknowledged at the previous plenary. The Speaker, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, announced this sequel to a motion moved by the Majority Leader, Honorable Yusuf Sharif, for adoption of reports of the Committee of All supported by the All House through a voice note. Correspondent Kolawole Osho covered the plenary. Details of his report are presented in this package.
The Deputy Speaker, Honorable Akim Balogun, while presenting the report of the Committee of the Whole House on the suspension of the lawmaker, Honorable Solomon Osho, who had earlier passionately pleaded to the House to reconsider his suspension through a correspondence, said members of the committee at the meeting discussed the letter of appeal extensively based on the remorse showed by the lawmaker, as well as tendering apology for whatever he might have done to warrant the suspension, as it was never intentional. Members agreed that his appeal be graciously considered. Following the motion of the adoption of the report moved by the Majority Leader, Honorable Yusuf Sharif, and supported by the other lawmakers through a voice vote, Speaker Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo pronounces that his suspension be revoked.
The report that will be adopted by the House and with the adequate number of members signed, Honorable Shaw is hereby pardoned by the House and we can resume the school meeting as a member of the House. sword.
It will be recalled that the Assembly on 13th September 2022 suspended the former Deputy Speaker, Dari Kadiri, and Honorable Solomon Osho, in line with the provisions of Sections 14 and 15 of the Legislative House Powers and Privileges Act 2017. In another development, the Assembly has played host to a delegation from the Love World Incorporated with an admonition to other interdenominational bodies to emulate the Church's humanitarian efforts towards promoting consciousness to national values and respect for the unity in diversity of the nation. Oluomo, in company of other lawmakers, commended the faith-based domination for preaching the love and loyalty in all parts of the nation, saying there was need for continued prayers for the nation to overcome its development challenges. Earlier in his presentation, the Ministry Director, Christ Embassy Ministry Center, Abeokuta, Pastor Tuoye Temisa, revealed that the nation was still in growing phase of democracy and thus required continuous prayers, especially for its leaders in the three arms of government, and propagate the Reach Out World Nigeria campaign round, which is held every year between October 1st and 14th to reawaken the spirit of patriotism in the Nigeria project. Also, the lawmakers received in audience the state chapter of the Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria, led by its state chairman, Mr. Shuaib Abdusamad, with a challenge to them to engage the National Assembly on the regulations of point of sales operation, with a view to curbing emerging crimes associated with their operations. Speaker Oluomo noted that financial regulations, which was under the exclusive legislative list, needed the approval of the National Assembly for deliberation and amendment. Thus, the need to engage necessary stakeholders for the amendment of the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2020 to capture the peculiarities of the point of sales machine.
Ahead of the 2023 general election, the Independent National Electoral Commission has sought partnership with Action Aid and other stakeholders to ensure seamless logistics for the 2023 general election. The INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, made this known at a meeting on election logistics for the general election in Lagos. Yakubu said with just 143 days to the election, this meeting was timely, noting that the Commission is determined to build on the successes recorded in the recent off-cycle elections in Ekiti and Osun states in the delivery of the election materials and the early commencement of polls. The chairman added that the Commission has successfully implemented 9 out of 14 activities listed in the timetable and schedule of activities for the 2023 general election. He said in this regard, the Commission welcomes the collaboration with Action Aid Nigeria and the development partners in organizing this important meeting that has brought all the major players together to deliberate on this critical issue. The Commission, is said, is determined to continuously improve on the processes and procedures in order to give Nigerians a pleasant experience on Election Day. The Police Service Commission has announced the dismissal of 7 senior police officers over alleged gross misconduct. The Commission also approved the demotion of 10 other officers. The decisions were taken during the continuation of the 15th plenary meeting of the Commission. It was reported that the meeting is expected to end on Thursday, October 6, 2022. The meeting presided over by the acting chairman of the PSC, Justice Clara Ogumbi, considered all the pending disciplinary matters before the Commission, totaling 47, and also treated some appeals from dismissed police officers. Addressing journalists after the meeting in Abuja, the spokesman of the Commission, Ikechukwu Ani, said the dismissed officers include a CSP, 1 SP, and 5 ASPs, adding that 1 SP was also retired in public interest. Of the 13 police officers that received the punishment of reprimand, 2 were to receive letters of warning, while 4 were exonerated, according to Ani. Justice Ogumbi noted that the Commission would henceforth give the desired attention to pending disciplinary matters so that those found guilty are punished immediately, while those found not guilty are cleared to continue with their career progression. The Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, ACON, said it has launched a suit against Meta Platforms Incorporated, owners of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp platforms, and its agent at 3 Resources Limited at the Federal High Court Abuja Judicial Division. According to a statement by the apex regulatory body for Nigeria advertising ecosystem, ACON is seeking a declaration, among others, that the continued publication and exposure of various advertisements directed at the Nigerian market through Facebook and Instagram platforms by Meta Platforms Incorporated without ensuring the same is vetted and approved before exposure is illegal, unlawful, and a violation of the extant advertising law in Nigeria. ACON stated that the Meta Platform Incorporated continued exposure of unvetted adverts had also led to loss of revenue to the federal government. ACON is seeking 30 billion naira in sanction for the violation of the advertising laws and for loss of revenue as a result of Meta Incorporated's continued exposure of unapproved adverts on its platform. According to ACON, the council is not regulating the online media space. Rather, it has focused on advertising and marketing communications on the online platform in line with its Establishment Act. Up next is Business News with Simiat Abaru. Do join us.
You're welcome to the business news. The price of natural gas has been raised by 40% as Nigerians continue to witness periodic increment of 122.15% in the price of liquefied petroleum gas, also known as cooking gas. Damilola Odetola went round Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, to feel the pulse of Nigerians on the fluctuating price of cooking gas. Her report.
According to Nigeria's energy transition plan, natural gas plays a critical role as a transition fuel in Nigeria's net zero pathway. Despite opposing views on stopping the usage of all fossil fuels, the plan indicates that gas consumption will grow by about 25% above the 2019 baseline by 2030. However, Nigerians are currently facing periodic increments of 122.15% in the price of liquefied petroleum gas, also known as cooking gas. The hike has caused households, particularly those affected by energy crisis, to return to firewood, a traditional cooking method, at the expense of their health. Chairman Liquefied Petroleum Gas Retailers Association of Nigeria, Ogun State Chapter, Comrade Olariwaju Akinleye, emphasized that the price of cooking gas may keep fluctuating since Nigeria is a member of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries.
We have gas here, but Nigerian government does not actually determine how much gas should be sold. The prices of gas are based on the rate at which gas is sold at international markets. So, and Nigeria being a member of the OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, Nigeria is bound to comply with whatever the cartel has fixed as either the petroleum price or the gas price.
The price in gas can never be determined by an individual. It's only the government that can intervene. If there is a regulatory body that can see to that, I think that would be a solution to the problem on ground.
According to the National Bureau of Statistics survey, 68.3% of all Nigerian households still use solid firewood and charcoal for cooking, which is considered harmful to the society. Kolawole Idowu, a user, said buying gas is no longer convenient and urged the government to do something about it.
The price changes every now and then, and it's not encouraging. Even for business-wise, it's not encouraging. For we that are using for home, it's not encouraging. It's like they are setting us back to our old time of using firewood, and it's not encouraging to keep buying gas at the end of the day. So the federal government need to regulate things for the masses.
Based on the climate impacts of deforestation and cooking emissions, the World Health Organization estimates that smoke from the kitchen leads to 93,300 deaths annually in Nigeria and is considered a leading cause of death after malaria and HIV/AIDS. According to WHO report, close to 4 million people die prematurely from illnesses attributable to household air pollution from inefficient cooking practices, using pollutant stoves paired with solid fuels such as charcoal and firewood. Damilola Odetola, OGTV News.
The Group Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Melekyari, on Tuesday announced that the NNPC as a corporation grew its profit after tax from 287 billion naira in 2020 to 674 billion naira in 2021. Kyari, who disclosed this at a press conference in Abuja, said the 2021 profit was contained in the group audited financial statement of the oil firm for the year ended December 31, 2021. They said in September 2021, Mr. President graciously approved the publication of the 2020 NNPC Group Audited Financial Statement, in which NNPC declared a profit after tax of 287 billion naira for the first time in its 44 years. Brent, the global benchmark for crude, appreciated in price. This as the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies consider an oil output quota of more than 1 million barrels per day when they meet on October 5, 2022. Industry figures shown that the cost of Brent moved up by 3.7% or $3.15 to close at $88.3 per barrel as at 6 in the evening Nigerian time. Another oil grade, the WTI, also increased in price. It gained $3.36 or 4.23% to close at $82.83 per barrel around the same time. However, oil grades on the OPEC basket dipped in price, shedding $0.42 or 0.45% to trade at $92.34 per barrel around 6 in the evening. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria and the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture have warned the Central Bank of Nigeria that the recent increase in base lending rate will trigger higher prices of product. In a statement signed by its Director General, Segun Ajayi Kadri, MAN said the increase in the monetary policy rate and the cash reserve ratio portended worrisome negative consequences for the manufacturing sector. According to the statement, in consideration of the prevailing scenario around increase in interest rate and access to funds, tougher times were ahead for the productive sector. The group noted that the increase in MPR from 14% to 15.5% would rub off negatively on other rates and dash the hope for a single-digit lending rate for the productive sector of the economy. And finally, the Secretary General, International Seabird Authority, Michael Lodge, has said that the sustainable development of deep seabird resources located in Africa's continental shelves and in the international seabird area can be a key driver for the development of Africa's blue economy. He said this during a pre-event press briefing on the imperative of supporting Africa's blue economy in Abuja. The event was jointly organized by the International Seabird Authority in collaboration with National Boundary Commission, Federal Ministry of Transportation, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, and other relevant ministries, departments, and agencies, and aimed to support the strategy of Africa's blue economy. And that's it on Business News Tonight. Many thanks for watching. Back to Okpeyemi for the segment of the news.